Hello, my name is Robert Cheadle, and this video is being recorded as a part of the Career Foundry Data Analytics course, Achievement 5, Task 7. Question 1. What does the CRISP DM methodology for data mining entail, and what does the data analyst do in each step? The CRISP DM methodology for data mining consists of 6 steps: business understanding, data preparation, modeling, evaluation, and deployment. In the business understanding step, an analyst's job is to understand the business goals and priorities of the project so that the data mining project can be tailored to support them. Next, during the data understanding step, a data analyst will gather data and check it for quality issues such as errors, missing values, or inconsistencies. Also, an analyst can calculate basic descriptive statistics on the data. It is important that the data analysts begin documenting any data bias, data quality issues, and their methodologies. In the data preparation step, a data analyst will begin preparing the data for analysis. Here, an analyst will be cleaning the data, fixing any issues found in the previous step, and deriving any new variables that may be necessary. In the modeling step, a data analyst will decide which combination of logic and algorithms to apply to the data set, keeping in mind the goals and nature of the project. Also, once a model is chosen, a test plan will be designed for the model, followed by the construction of a prototype model. In the evaluation step, if your prototype model was recommended for implementation, the data analyst will make visualizations of the model's results, as well as conduct a thorough review of the data mining process as a whole. And finally, preparing a presentation to support your recommendation of deployment. Finally, in the deployment step, the data analyst will continue to monitor and document model performance and investigate any radical changes to output volume or quality. Also, the data analyst will generate periodic reports that detail model development, purpose, quantitative threshold changes, and performance. Question 2. Explain what needs to be done before you can forecast time series. In other words, what does time series analysis involve? Time series forecasting involves making a model based on historical data and extending it outward to predict future values. A time series analysis is a descriptive process that helps us to understand the data at hand. The goal is to find out why the data looks the way it does. In practice, this means looking for patterns or trends in the data and trying to explain them. Before you can forecast time series, you need to determine if the time series is stationary, shows seasonality, or autocorrelation. A stationary time series occurs when the statistical attributes such as mean and variance stay the same over time. In other words, while the data itself may change over time, its underlying nature and the mechanisms that drive it won't. In a non-stationary time series, on the other hand, the line has no obvious systematic pattern, rather an identifiable trend in one direction. Seasonality refers to fluctuations that regularly occur at periodic intervals. Autocorrelation occurs when the value of data points is always equal at a given time interval. This is reflected as a repeating systematic pattern rather than a trend. Next, the time series will need to be modeled in order to make predictions. Examples of this include moving average and seasonal autoregressive integrated moving average model. If the time series is non-stationary, it will need to be made stationary in order to model it. Once a model is developed, we can test it for accuracy by comparing the predicted results with the actual data. Question 3. Discuss the main principles of data ethics, as well as what companies or organizations could do to uphold these principles. The main principles of data ethics are privacy, transparency, accountability, and equality. Individuals should be in control of their personal data. Organizations must comply with data privacy laws and get the consent of an individual before they collect and share private information. Individuals should have a clear overview of the data that organizations collect and share. This means that organizations need to be transparent about how they handle and process data, both internally and externally. Organizations are responsible for the data that they collect and share. They must safeguard an individual's private information and be held accountable if this is not the case. Organizations must be careful not to disadvantage or discriminate against individuals or groups when handling and processing data. Data will always lend itself to human bias, which can lead to discriminatory practices. This needs to be avoided. Organizations need to be aware of the regulations for handling and securing data to ensure they are following local laws. An organization should ensure it has data security programs that exist to comply with data privacy laws and protect company and client data from unauthorized access, use, and transfer. Encryption, firewalls, passwords, and policies that define who can access data all fall under the umbrella of data security. Finally, an organization must ensure they are being transparent to customers on how they collect and share their data. Question 4. Imagine you're an analyst at a financial services company and you have some concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured. How would you raise your concerns with your manager? Make some suggestions for how to avoid measurement bias in the future. Measurement bias occurs when there's a problem with the machines or humans doing the measuring or observing. I would first raise my concerns about any potential bias to my direct supervisor. If it is necessary after that discussion, I will consult my company's ethical policies and meet with HR or an ethics department if one exists. There are many ways to eliminate measurement bias. Ensure there are multiple measuring devices. Design and communicate your testing procedures clearly and openly. As a data analyst, you must always be prepared to communicate to stakeholders your project's susceptibility to bias and how you control for bias in your collection, measurements, and analysis. Make sure that your validators have an adequate level of experience and training. And finally, continuously review and update your scoring and evaluation process. Question 5. Explain the difference between regression and classification models and predictive analysis. When would you use one of these models over the other? In a regression model, the dependent variable is continuous, such as price, height, and time. In a classification model, the dependent variable is categorical, such as male or female, and pass or fail. We would choose to use a classification model when the output of the model needs to belong to a particular category. We would use a regression model when we wish to predict a continuous value from a set of independent variables. Thank you.